What is up? How are you doing? It's Dean Soto. Freedom in 5 minutes again. Here we are. Look like I'm wearing the same thing every day. I promise I'm changing my clothes. Changing them, I promise. All right, so we're talking about today prospecting. How to prospect effectively. So you got a business, you just started your business, or maybe you had your business for a long time. This is going to be really how, for me, it's worked out. Okay, and what has worked, what has not worked, and really just giving you the tools that have helped me to grow multiple businesses that have been in the 7-figure range. Pretty cool. So that being said, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. It helps out the channel, but it also helps everyone else who wants to learn something like this. All right, so I'm going to keep this one short, but pretty sweet. So when I first started, so before we get into all of this, the popular way of getting prospects and everything like that. And I'm going to be talking mainly about a service business, by the way. This is more of like a service-based business. Okay, so you may have like a software as a service. You might have just service just in general. Products can be a little bit different. There's a lot of other ways to go about that, but this is mainly for service-based businesses. So if you don't have that, you can still listen. You can still listen, but it's going to be based around that. All right. So that being said, let's get into it. So when I first started business in general, I was getting on and creating content, and I was spending literally 4 or 5 hours a day creating videos, going on Twitter, going on Facebook, telling the world how great my product was, telling the world all these different things you could do with it and stuff, all of my, with services and everything like that. And that quickly got me nowhere. And I very easily started finding that the way that a lot of people inherently think about finding prospects is usually wrong. Okay. When that happened, I had a little bit of a shift in my mind occur when I went to one of my very first networking events. It was a tweet up. I don't even know if they have tweet ups anymore, but a tweet up is essentially someone on Twitter says, hey, we're going to be meeting at this place at this time. We'd love for you to join and join in and be with us, right? So that tweet up, it was at this restaurant in Mission Viejo. And I go there. I didn't know a single person. Aside from some, when they started talking about the tweet up, I started kind of tweeting different people, started, trying to interact and stuff like that. Nobody knew who I was. In fact, Paul, my buddy Paul Tran from Honey Badger Cellar was one who I had reached out on Twitter, and he's like, I don't know who this guy is. And he ended up not being, he ended up not being at that particular event, but we ended up connecting later on. But he's like, who's this weirdo? So we go to this restaurant. I go to this restaurant in Mission Viejo, and I meet a whole bunch of people. And in fact, it was interesting because it was at that point where I was like, whether I meet people for business or not, I don't really care. I actually just want to meet other business owners. I want to meet other people who I can maybe learn from, and just be around in that crowd, And I ended up meeting Neil Schaefer there. He's really big in social media marketing, content marketing and stuff. He's been doing this for a long time. Amazing guy, super nice guy. Ended up meeting a whole bunch of different people there. And it was at that moment, it was funny because we ended up introducing what our business was and what we did, and I remember making a joke about my kids and everyone laughing, but I spent most of the time actually just talking with Neil Schaefer. We ended up becoming really good friends and met a couple of different people there, but really only maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 different people. And I didn't think anything would come from it at all. I get home, a couple of days go by, and I end up getting from my website I ended up getting a lead from my website, a guy named Rick, who was the manager of this like silk screen t-shirt company. And I ended up getting a gig for about $1,500 a month during that time. And that, for me, that was huge. That was absolutely huge. There was a lot that was involved in that. It was pretty cool, but it was not something that I expected, right? And the reason it came was because of authenticity at that networking event. I wasn't just passing out my cards. I wasn't just doing that. I was literally just talking with people and being real and being a real person and, you know, explaining what I did, but also not really caring if they became a client or not, right? And so that's the point where at that point is where I realized that in order to really prospect effectively for your services, you really just have to be an authentic person and go to where your customers are and actually just talk. So I've slowly evolved my way of doing that in several ways where it's even online. Okay. So here are my main tips for prospecting if you have a service business today. So one is go to where your customers are at. Okay. And that doesn't mean you have to go to networking events. Doesn't mean anything like that. So I run a virtual systems architect, which is basically just a virtual assistant they systemize everything. You show them how to do something, they will document it step by step into a process, and then they'll do it and you never have to do it again. So these are like high level people, like really top tier people who can run your business pretty much for you. Right? And they're less than minimum wage in most states in the United States. Amazing people. I love every single one of them, and they are just awesome, right? So for me, I kind of have a pretty broad scope of people that use my services. But what I do, as I always think, is like, who really uses my services? Business consultants. You are not necessarily going to use my services, although they did. One of the tactics that we've used before is, and we still do, is we hire consultants to, just maybe $250 per hour, $100 per hour, whatever, to go through some of our processes. And really, we're asking like, hey, what do you think about our workflow? What do you think about our sales process? Like, how can we improve this? And we're really, truly actually looking for that. And then as they're going through that, they're like, yeah, about those virtual systems architects, can we try those out? And that's happened. It's pretty dang cool. It is one of those things where it's worked out really, really well for us. Okay. So, and they become clients, and we're actually going to them. We're actually seeking out actual authentic help, and they become a client. And that $200 or $100 is usually less than what it costs to do pay-per-click ads, right? So I'll do that. The other thing that I do is I love going and investing in myself and going to courses. So this is actually tip number 2. So it's sort of tip number 1, tip number 2. I use courses. So in fact, I just started doing Wake Up Warrior. I did Warrior Week in the past. I did King's Challenge. I ended up 10xing my business. Went from 6 figures to 7 figures in 3 years, essentially. And from there, I kind of went stagnant a little bit, joined back up, and lo and behold, I go into a breakout session on Zoom, and I'm sitting there with Jim Edwards, who is Russell Brunson's ClickFunnels. I'm sitting there, me, 2 other guys, and Jim Edwards, chit-chatting in a breakout room. And this is somebody who is very, very, very high up there, does work for big names, and now he knows me, I know him, and pretty dang cool that I got to do that. Will it turn into business? Maybe, maybe not. But a lot of those people who are in this business course need my services, right? They need a virtual systems architect. They need a virtual assistant. They need somebody who they can delegate work to. So maybe you're a plumber, maybe you're maybe you are a copywriter, maybe you're whatever. You have to, invest in yourself, but know that those people, where you're taking that course at, also has your clients. And I've gotten so many clients literally just from investing in myself. I was going to invest in myself anyway and end up getting a bunch of clients that have been with me for 3+ years. Okay. So pretty awesome. Yeah. And then number 3 is know your numbers. So when you actually start knowing your numbers, you can then start doing paid advertising. So for us, I can pay up to almost $1,000 to $2,000 in advertising to get one lead, right? And still, I take that back. It's actually more like $500 to $1,000 because I do want to recoup that money within a certain period of time. But I can pay that per actual converted somebody who's become a client, and not blink, right? Because I know my numbers. If you know your numbers, if I get a client, how much are they worth? How much are they worth over time on a recurring scale, right? Or on a recurring from here to a year or more. How much is the customer lifetime value? Now I can start actually bringing in new clients, right? Just based off of numbers. And, for us, because our customer retention, I did a whole video on this before, our customer retention conservatively is a year. Usually it's 2 years plus. We can spend a good amount on advertising in order to get one customer in, right? And, whereas if you don't know your numbers, you're like, oh my gosh, I just spent $100 and I don't know what I'm gonna do. Oh my gosh, this is crazy, right? But if you know if you know that your customer is actually worth, say, $10,000, are you gonna balk at $1,000 that you just spent $100? No, you're going to be totally okay with that. And so that's where you have to know your numbers, right? So for me, tip number one, be authentic wherever you go. If you're going to networking events, if you're going to meetups or anything like that, be authentic, because that is going to be key. Cool thing is, I've been authentic and I've gotten so many strategic partners that even right now that I've known forever, who they benefit, I benefit, and it's helped to grow my business. And you're not always just seeking clients. You're thinking of affiliates, referrals. You're thinking of strategic partners and stuff like that. Number 2 is go to where your clients are, right? Go to where your clients are, and there, be authentic again, be helpful, know who your client is, right? And go to where they are. Number 3, invest in yourself. To me, one of the best ways that was number 2. Invest in yourself and invest in yourself. So the number 1 was go to. It's one of those days. Number 2 is invest in yourself. Go to like workshops, go to things like that, but know that you have actual clients there. So not only are you learning, you are also meeting your exact client base there, right? So if you're a plumber, if you're a plumber, go to a general contractor's workshop. General contractors need plumbers. My father-in-law's a general contractor. He hates doing plumbing. He does not want to have that risk on his hands, right? So now you have 5 general contractors who are saying, hey, can you be my plumber? Boom. You don't even have to worry about leads at that point, right? So huge. And then number 3, know your numbers. When you know your numbers, you can go spend money on that $5,000 course or meetup or workshop that you're going to with that general contractor, and know, oh, well, that's great. I spend $5,000. I know I'll meet 5 strategic partners there, and each one of those are going to bring me in, $500,000 in revenue, and ends up being like a $200,000 in profit. Am I going to pay $5,000 to make $200,000? Duh. Yeah, of course, right? So know your numbers, right? Huge, huge, huge things when you're prospecting. One of my mentors, taught me this, like to leverage these types of things that most people don't see as a way to market and stuff, but leverage these things, whether it's paying for a consultant who then, or 10 consultants who then 2 of them then become clients, and now you literally just you've made your money back and then some on consulting. So not only did you get consulting from 10 people, you also profited as well, right? Go and invest in yourself, invest in your business, knowing that there's a possibility that where I'm going or what I'm doing is going to bring in clients as well. So, all right, this is Dean Soto, Freedom in 5 Minutes. Go check out freedomin5minutes.com. Go check out prosulum.com, prosulum.com. If you want to have the 4-hour work week, if you want to live the life that you've always wanted to do with freedom and have other people do the work for you, that's the place to go. So, all right, I will see you in the next video. See you guys.